Welcome back. And if you're going to get hot, Direwolves, now is the time to get hot. Spawn, they are a dominant team tonight.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I just want to say that every good game starts with a good draft. And the Direwolves have absolutely bopped the Chiefs in that draft. They had losing mid 2v2. Nidalee plus Galio was like undisputed, like strongest mid 2v2. And they did make the mistake that they visited there early, and that's bad, right? But they had winning top lane matchup in Ornn into Renekton. That's really Ornn favored. And they also had heavy winning bottom lane matchup. Jinx has always been a historic counter into the Caitlyn matchup, all the way back to the time when probably Rusty was playing the game. It's just about whether you're good enough at Jinx to actually be able to play the matchup. She is one of the most mechanically intense champions, weapon juggling, as well as those flame chompers being able to stop out the dashes. Well, turns out the Vital can play the Jinx, and that probably means that you can no longer first pick Caitlyn versus this team, because Jinx is a heavy favorite in that matchup.
And Rusty, when it comes to the Chiefs, obviously they got to be feeling rattled as they head up towards Legacy, because they this wasn't necessarily a gimme for them, but this was an opportunity for them to be able to get that steam as they head towards the finals with Legacy, since they're in such a battle for fourth and fifth.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's interesting to get all these form checks as well, right? Like, you've got two teams that are going to be in the playoffs one day or another, one game or another, maybe even against each other. So to see how they match up, and like this does affect drafting games like that, is super curious. Like Spawn mentioned, maybe Kate can't be a first pick. Maybe the Chiefs in general, now it's in their minds that they can't do X and Y things. And, I do think there was some positives the Chiefs can take away from it in terms of play style. I love the forced, fast-paced game, recognizing that they don't want to take it too late. They just, unfortunately, one or two mistakes is all it takes, and a Jinx can get rolling.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you saw, because technically Direwolves had one team fight in the mid lane where Vital actually had flash up and available, and he got one hit by Croc off the back end of a really great engage. I feel like if he had a flash to the Nidalee Spear there and been able to get his first reset, the Direwolves probably win that game quicker. However, credit to Chiefs, they had multiple kind of moments like that where they either caught Croc out or they were able to catch out, Chiefs didn't catch Croc out, they caught Vital out, or they were able to catch out Miru as well on the Olaf. And they actually made Miru's early game life a little bit miserable there. So I think that there is good signs there for the Chiefs going into the game. I do think, however, that as you get later into the season, picking early game comps becomes more and more risky. As skill levels plateau out, you do have to be very careful about playing aggressive style of League of Legends as opposed to picking to scale and team fight. And we've just seen historically that every OPL playoff ends up in a scaling war anyway, so you may as well get there first, and that's what it looks like the Direwolves have been able to do this weekend.
I think it's interesting as well when you look at like Legacy versus AV with the Renekton playing for a top lane camp, and then you compare that to what Direwolves simply did in comparison, right? Like maybe it's a different champion of an Ornn versus Camille, but Shock stops the dive, or like they have resources to maybe prevent it, and the difference that can make where you do have a losing matchup, and that was your one way into that matchup, like taking those gambles in draft, super risky.
Yeah, I do agree, and I think it's about using your counter picks to guarantee prio in the early game, whereas what Avant did is they use their counter pick to give themselves a late scaling option, and sometimes that just doesn't work out in your favor, so I think there's little things that you can nitpick from the draft, but overall I really like the identity. I really like Lulu into 5th pick tank as well, so I think that there's a lot of positives there for the Direwolves lineup, and that's impressive because they overhauled their coaching staff. That was their change going into the season, right? So I think that the fact that it is starting to work out and they're starting to win games because of the draft, whereas last split, I felt like they won games in spite of the draft a lot of the time, is a really impressive feat to be able to pull off.
Well, it is a very exciting time to be a Direwolves fan tonight, because they are looking in really dominant form, and exciting to see how they're going to be heading into next week. Before we get into the next game for the night, we have some exciting stuff to share with you guys, and that is the EPOS competition winners. You know that EPOS have been running a comp on and off throughout the entire split for giving away GSP 600 headsets to people who run in with their favorite gaming memory. This last version has been to run in with your most out-of-this-world OPL memory, and we've heard all of Spawn's memories. Almost literally every single time he's been a part of the OPL has been mentioned.
Haven't scratched the surface, mate. I've been here for a very long time, I'll have you know.
You are baked into the brand in a way that, despite our best efforts, you cannot be removed. So we have some submissions here today. We're picking two winners. from the finalists that we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 5 finalists, so we need to narrow it down to 2. The first one comes in from Bagman Daddy, which is just a fantastic name, and B, I thought for a second was a Baghead reference, and I got very excited. Because we do, like, oftentimes we just pretend like some of the things we say on broadcast never happen. But Baghead, if Baghead isn't a major part of the broadcast next year, I'm going to be really disappointed.
I heard new play-by-play caster. That's what the word is around the traps, but maybe.
Well, currently the current play-by-play caster refuses to appear on camera at all. Although technically so does Baghead, so it's kind of just replacing like with like. Okay, Bagman Daddy writes in with their most out of this world gaming memory. Being a huge fan of Chiefs since 2017. Being very disappointed when they kept losing against Direwolves. 2018 Split 1 finals, Chiefs versus Direwolves. I was so excited about the match that I woke up at 3 a.m. to watch the games with my dodgy internet as I was on holidays. Chiefs were 2 games up and I was sure that they would win. I started celebrating and shouting in the hotel room. Direwolves started the reverse sweep, and in the 5th game, Chiefs were up 5k gold but still lost. I was so sad, and ever since, I'm still waiting for the Chiefs to win the finals.
He's not the only one waiting for that, is he? There's certain members on that team that have gotten closer many times in a row, Spawn, and never won.
Yeah, that was the game, though. Like, if you cast your mind back to that, Doss talks about it all the time. Like, that was definitely the series. If the Chiefs were going to be able to win one in the last couple of years, they've had a couple of, landslides that have gone against them. But that one, they looked so damn close. Can I just say, that's why I'm in esports. Like, memories like that, when you hear about fans that literally couldn't sleep the night before and are watching the games when they're on holidays and screaming at their mobile phones while everyone else in the airport just wonders what the heck is going on. Like, that kind of stuff is actually, like, that's what being a fan is about. And, like,
Totally.
It's so cool that it's about League of Legends and a team like the Chiefs. I've been a part of the Chiefs in the past, and they're a great organization to be a part of. And I think that, it's a matter of time before they get back to an OPL title because they're always thereabouts.
Do you feel like some of the Chiefs members, I mean, I feel like there's a couple of people in the OPL like that where it's like Rusty said, waiting for that win, and then when it finally happens, it'll be like that scene in, oh God, what is it? I can't remember, where someone ages like 90 years and just disappears into dust, where it's just like, I'm finally free. I did it. I could be released. That's how it feels for the Chiefs right now. All right, memory number 2. This one coming in from Julie Inordinate. Attending the 2016 OPL Grand Finals at South Bank to watch the original Chiefs lineup smash. I had my little daughter with me who had no idea what was going on, but was mesmerized, worth the extra toilet breaks. She still watches OPL with me sometimes. So the 2016 OPL Grand Finals at South Bank with a daughter who's still an OPL fan.
This is a good one.
The year Spooks retired Carbon, even though Carbon then went on to play another year. Never let the truth get in the way of a great story. And if you hear Spooks talk about that grand final, it is a very, very good story. And as Rusty said, it was a good one. Was that your first one that you casted live?
Yeah, that was my first ever live final cast last year.
Wow.
The year before that, I was at Luna Park on the analyst desk, but the analyst desk at Luna Park was outside the building in the freezing cold on top of the roof. So we didn't even get the atmosphere of a live arena. So yes, that was my actual first live one, and it was amazing.
Yeah, Rusty and Atlas standing on at the top of what the outdoor amphitheater that we've turned in. Atlas had been dunked earlier that day. We'd got to see Radier with his rig off, which is always a treat. That was a very, very good final. That's one of my favourite memories as well.
The next one comes in from Ninja Tello. One time my friends and I, silver rank, played flex and ran into, you guessed it, the Chiefs. It was a close game and they only won because I disconnected. Just kidding. They were farming CS in our base like 6 minutes into the game.
So when Earth mode first came out, I queued up to play with just some friends, somewhere between silver to platinum skill level. And on the enemy team were 5 pro players, or 4 pro players and Carbon, I think, at the time. There was just some freaks on that team. And they got, like, the dream composition. And there was a 5-minute period, Nick, where they were sitting at our fountain, just one-hitting us on spawn.
Oh, that's brutal.
It was torturous. And so I get the feeling. It's a good memory. It's one that I'll always remember, but I hate it at the same time.
it's one of those feelings that you go that this is happening once, and in this environment, it's like a memory to be treasured. It's when you go, okay, actually, we're a team that go up against them every couple of weeks and get absolutely hammered in the OPL. That's when that memory starts going bad. But yeah, you're happy to be absolutely broken apart by the Chiefs at some point, out in the wild. We've got 2 more, but we are running up against the clock to head into the next game, so we might touch on those in the next seg. And also, I saw who was the person? I can't pronounce your name. Karu Kamau, sure. Who said the dude in the Holy Grail is the person who sped up very quickly. Correct. That's exactly who I was thinking of, so thank you very much for that. All right, the next game we've got coming up, AV versus PGG. So obviously, AV did not have a strong showing earlier on before. PGG, my team, the underdogs, who are looking to, this will be the last game that they have before a run in the playoff spawn. What are we looking forward to here?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Avant, you need to come in and create some waves, because if you are able to do that and you take down Pentanet, they're equal with the Direwolves. And I have no idea who has the head-to-head there, because I wasn't even looking at these 2 teams. So I'm going to do a quick Google, and then Rusky can talk about the rest of it.
Talking about head-to-head between who, sorry?
PGG and Direwolves.
Direwolves have head-to-head.
Okay, so if Avant win here, Direwolves can finish 3rd. What? That's insane.
Wait, really? Oh my god. They can too. They were almost eliminated last week, weren't they?
Yeah, they almost nearly eliminated today.
If Avant win here, did you say?
Yeah, if Avant win here, Direwolves are 3rd.
Unbelievable.
All right, well, we're going to see how this goes. This is AV. This is their last, potentially their last appearance in the OPL for this split, and PGG looking to get one more win under the belt and put themselves in a really strong position as we head into playoffs. So let's jump in to game number 5 for the evening. It's AV versus PGG, and it's coming up with the Macca's Jam Select.
I really like versing Avant because they have 2 AD carries that they play, but they're both really bad. So I just like to see whoever I verse, and I'll just roll them, and it should be pretty easy.
I feel very confident going into the game, and I'm also very excited to verse them because I think that they will be playing the hard outs and they'll be giving 100%.
This is going to be an important one for where we end up in playoffs. So this is more than just one game and 1 point. This is a best of 5. That's what the difference is of this game. So this is one to take seriously.
It's like a mixture of legacy and then like a mixture of like direwolves. Like the Avant will like fight you when they think it's good, but they'll also try and make the correct decisions, but they'll also like try and ruin your bot tower by 7 minutes.
I think Avant has been like a little bit shaky recently. I think they just have like no identity for themselves, and I think that like once they find that, like they should be really good, but I don't know how, like it might be too late for them, I think.
And here we go, jumping into our 5th game of Super Week. Avant Gaming are looking for their 2nd game tonight, whereas Pentanet.gg are looking for their 1st. We'll get to see, really, what the stakes are here. Rusty, you mentioned before that we could be up for a bit of an interesting circumstance.
I can't say for certain yet, because I feel like we're updating every 5 minutes as I read it, but I think there's a chance of a 3-way tie now if AV are able to win this one. So there's still stakes in this game. While not directly for a team like AV, if ever there was a moment to just be a real asshole to the ladder and force tiebreakers, now's the perfect moment for AV to get amongst it and have a good game.
Well, we'll get to see what they decide to try and draft here today. We saw the fact that Pradev had a lot of his AD carry champions removed away. He was forced to go back to Diaphilios. He got himself insanely fit, but just did not have the range to match that of a Ziggs or a Camille. The game went late. They were into Legacy. It was a late game scaling matchup, but one fight sealed the deal. As you saw from the hype video there from Parbu, he was mentioning that Avant Gaming kind of do a little bit of everything. They might look to be aggressive like the Chiefs. They might look to wait things out like Legacy. We'll get to see what their game plan is here today, because much like the other, we've got, once again, 4 AD bans.
Lucian, the first pick here from AV. Chaz is someone who plays it in mid lane, so this isn't, massively surprising with the ability to flex it at the very least. But it's the most unexpected, you would have to say, of all of the options that could exist at a first pick. Biopanther going to lock in the more standard. Parby once again going to go a little bit more standard. Very curious to see where AV choose to go here, and if they're going to actually hide the fact that it could be a flex, or if they're going to go like the TSM route now and just pick a Yuumi, just play it down in bot lane and just grit and bear whatever happens.
This will be a bit of a blast to the past back in Split 1 when Chaz was known for his mid Lucian. Potentially an option that they could look to utilise here, not knowing if Pat Bryce has that available, but okay. There's Lilia, the debut here in the OPL. We're going to get to see what this champion's all about.
Yeah, a bit of fun seems to be coming across here for Lisa. Now, I will say, AV have always been one of the most similar to the LPL teams, and the LPL starting to see Lilia in their pick ban, and also starting to see it banned away from some players over in that region, Skimmy. So if you're very good at the Lilia, there is a world where this is just a really good pick in general. Loves to...
Your face says it all. That's going to be a Katarina coming in here. So many ways to deny the Katarina from being strong, but they don't care. Rusty's broken. Let's see what Pensnet will draft.
Katarina. What are you... Alright, mate.
Okay.
He wants to chaz it up, I guess. That's special. That's something else.
What on earth are we witnessing here today? Their final game for the OPL this split. And for one team, they're looking to try and break the trend and make sure that we don't have these crazy ties. But for Avant Gaming, they want to bust out a little bit of their fan favourites, what works for them, and what makes the viewers at home maybe PogChamp a few more times.
I was very excited for this Lilia. I really enjoy Lilia's playstyle, and she's been a weird champion, Skibby, because it felt like she was released almost under the radar. In terms of design, I actually akin her to, and it's not directly true, but like to Ivan, where they quietly achieved when they were first released, and I think has potential to be a really good champion, and just has one of those playstyles that isn't exciting. It isn't the Yone release that we have at the moment on live. But it has a lot of potential there, and then they've just gone and chucked a Lucian Katarina beside it, so I'm not sure what to expect anymore. Not at all.
Well, what we will know is that Yuumi, as well as that Blitzcrank, will be denied away from the Lucian, so they can't look to try and get that up and running very early on into this matchup to get some big snowball leads. So there's a possibility that Pat Bryce could run at top, but it seems more catered towards that bottom half of the map. As for Pensnet, well, they have guaranteed themselves that Aphelios, so no doubt we're going to see a composition built to empower him, give him as much farm as possible, kind of replicate what we saw yesterday. If we get a Kassadin, could be a little bit different here.
Kassadin, yeah. So right now we've got this Cleanse, Smite, Graves jungle running around. We've seen Graves run Ignite and something of the likes, usually with a Phase Rush. I think that tick of Ignite, I believe, helps him getting that proc, but Cleanse isn't going to be the same if that's the route they're going to choose to go here. And then they've gone for a scaling mid lane option as well. This basically secures the Karma Aphelios down in the bot lane 2v2. Awaiting the choice here from AV, as this also basically confirms that we've got a Lucian top lane, I think. Because the Katarina's definitely not going to flex up there, are they?
It literally feels like they are picking for their roles. There is no need to confuse your opponent.
Do something crazy.
What else could that be bust out here?
Vel'Koz,
Give us something
Xerath?
crazy. There it is. Surely. Lock it in. The clock is ticking. The time is set. The pick is locked in. We've got ourselves an Alistair. There is no flexing here. No, Avant are literally what you see is what you get.
To be honest, Skimmy, that wasn't even analysis from me. I just wanted an Alistair. It just happened to lock that in. So fantastic. Just made sense, I guess. We're going to see the potential counter still here for Rogue, which does mean that the Karma would be going to top lane if that's going to be secured, and it is. This isn't a hard counter. At level 6, the Alistair would be perfectly fine as well to be able to use that Unbreakable and get out of the Braum stun. But prior to level 6, if you go for a combo, you get punished. You basically were almost guaranteed to be stunned then, and protracted trades are a real possibility here for the side of PGG. So they've gone for a little bit more strength in that 2v2 in bot lane early game from the Braum, even though Aphelios wants to scale. They've got Graves for some early game strength and the Karma as well to an extent. as the Kassadin wants to scale. A lot of this game to me rides on Pabu though.
It definitely feels like that, and we've only seen a few games really when it's come to junglers that want to run this double offensive option. No flash. We'll get to see if this one is successful here today. We know that Pabu wants to be aggressive, isn't going to go for the ignite to proc that phase rush as you highlight, but definitely going to go for the cleanse to make sure that will not be put to sleep so easily by the newest addition to the jungle in this Lilia. And I know that you yourself, a bit of a Lilia connoisseur, you showcase what you can do in the MPL, and obviously that's all the testament you need really to showcase that you're qualified to speak on it. You know, what do we think about this going into this matchup?
Yeah, you know, Nexus Blitz victories are very good on the resume for my ability to play Lilia. Skibby, you're absolutely right. Now, one of the things that she provides is not burst, right? She's a very consistent damage over time-based champion. She is movement speed reliant for sure, and once you start hitting spells, it stacks up your passive, you start moving faster, you're able to continue to chase people down. One of the best things that she has, though, of like every ability that she has, is and it's not like because it's a good ability, it's because it's great in general, is the bowling ball. So when you press E, it could go across the whole map. So you could be sitting in base, you've just spawned, you're walking back to your jungle, but you just throw a cheeky E down mid lane, and if it happens to connect, you can ult that target. So from wherever you are on the map, you've just put a Zoe bubble on someone. And talk about setup for a team that has assassins and potential dive in there as well. Like Kai'Sa suddenly in the back line from a global distance away. And there's a lot of damage that comes out of it over time as well. So if you've got consistent damage in the comp with that Lilia, then it's actually a pretty dangerous comp.
Let's see what kind of execution we'll find here today in game number 5 for Super Week in the OPL. It's Avant on the left-hand side, getting to have a little bit of fun with what they can showcase here today. A few picks that will make their debut, not only in the competitive scene, but for what they can showcase on a platform like this. As for Pensnet.gg, they're all about serious scaling. They want to make sure that this Kassadin and this Aphelios can hit their stride and get back. Remember what he was able to do in his Kassadin last time. It was either a quadrukill or it was a penta.
Okay, but there is one really important thing that we have to discuss here, because Pabu did actually commit to that cleanse, by the way, is Kassadin's Q, I'm pretty sure cancels Katarina ult. And if that's the case, because it's a mini disrupt, like it works with a lot of silence, it like works like a silence for an instant second in time. If that stops a Katarina ult, then what's a Chaz to do? I don't think there's any way to win that lane at all now that the Kassadin has been picked in by Getback. And it's funny because like Kassadin's known as right now we're 1 out of 16 on a win condition. But Katarina's biggest strength is often, you know, just throw Qs, not have a mana cost. And then at level 6, you've got Ignite, you've got Kill Threat. You get your first Bilgewater Cutlass purchase, you've got Kill Threat. But then Getback just gets to wander around and just not use his Q in laning phase, and he wins laning phase.
Yeah, a bit of a weird situation to be in, as you highlight. The fact that your ultimate gets so hard cancelled, and if you're looking to try and jump in and assassinate somebody, well, Getback is looking to achieve the similar situation himself, no doubt, when that Rift Walk gets stacked on up as well. So we're going to be interesting to keep tabs on that lane as it stands. No doubt also on the pathing of this Lilia to try and go toe-to-toe and find value in this cleanse that Graves has picked on up. We have seen Biopanther here go for the grass builds. Seen a few more of these in that top half of the map, so no doubt expecting a bit of a tanky variation with the Iceborne Gauntlet coming out first.
Yep. And Biopanther, playing a pretty commanding champion, is about to have a Pabu up here as well to look for that gank.
Certainly is, and both are going to get dropped down to half, and you need to get ahead as a Lucian top lane, and that is not going to happen, as Pensnet will get themselves first blood.
Yeah, definitely not getting himself ahead with that one. You probably also want to teleport and have the Lilia hover to make sure that you can get the teleport off safely. Lisa, thankfully, is on the top side of the map and is going to control top side. Scuttle Crab. That is not the way to start this game, as Pabu could just casually walk into your lane, and I mean casually, and just net himself the first kill. Good work done by Biopanther. Once again, he has shown he's very capable of playing this Karma, and it's not the easiest matchup. Illusion, especially at the Vamp Scepter purchase, can start to be a real menace.
Certainly can be. Hit you with a double tap on those autos and then look to try and keep himself nice and topped up and healthy. Here comes Lisa just poking himself into mid lane. Get back, as is tradition. Chucks out the sad B emote. Force him to run away to this bottom scuttle.
There's no way Pabu's contesting this one because he is not fast. Lilia is the fast. So he's going to be able to walk from Raptors.
The fast.
Resets the cab and he's just going to walk and take down both Scuttle Crabs across this map. So, I mean, decent overall jungle pathing so far from Lisa. Now has the threat of throwing a bowling ball down the bot lane with an Alistar combo if they want to kill.
Yeah, and that might be what they're looking for right now. The bowling ball won't connect, but the headbutt combo certainly will, and that will ensure that Praetor falls on down. Violet finds that kill, and Lisa, with the blue buff, cycles through those cooldowns, utilizing that passive to fantastic effect and just padding their health bars lower and lower.
And I don't want to say that one was obvious, but that was very obvious. It felt like that was going to come from a mile away, but it was a nice play from Appy in particular, using the flash pulverize to make sure there was no response from a Braum. There was no way to get out to safety. As they go again.
He certainly does. Violet says, hang on a minute, what are you doing over there? The shield goes up and negates so much of those missiles, as Violet is still going forward. Probably burns that cleanse very early on, looking for that phase rush proc to disengage back to the safety of that turret. As Lisa, he just continued to crash that wave in.
Yeah, Violet stands and delivers the damage. Well played here from Appy in general as well. Doesn't get stunned up by the Braum. Doesn't get locked down so the Graves can pick up a kill. Things start to slow down at the very least on the bottom side, but that's still something that favored AV with the outcome of that little skirmish that happened. And thankfully for them, top lane also equalizing here as well.
Yeah, Paparazzo's done a fantastic job of stabilizing out that lane. No doubt Biopamp will be looking for the Ninja Tabbies to make that lane a bit easier for him to navigate. Yeah, Jazz is definitely losing that right now. It's not a good time.
I'm not a Katarina main, so I definitely have mixed opinions on this, but going for the Hextech Gunblade, I would personally like just going for the Cutlass or the Vamp Scepter in the first parts of that one. But I can totally see you want AP. You want to obviously do more damage in general with that ability power. However, you've got AD ratios that are really strong on your ult. So my theory is that he wants to do more damage with non-ult spells, because that's going to get cancelled instantly.
Yep, as they both hit level 6. And will he get a chance to use it? He might do, if it's on cooldown, or if his team go for the gank. We pan away the cameras to see a Hex Flash go out. But as it goes out, so does the option to find that kill, as Praetor is left to his own device and will do what he did last time he played this champion, farm up a storm.
Needs to be very careful here, Praetor. Reinforcements are covered as well. It's not just Appy.
Certainly does, and that's going to be enough to enforce his team to commit there with the teleport. That'll be Biopamp joining in. No, actually will be Get Back deciding to use that one. He had the Gravitum available to him to root those targets in place to potentially turn around what was a gank on him into a fight that would favor them.
Double pickaxe also going to be the build here for Violet. The staple, you would say, for a lot of Kai'Sa builds here. Go for that double pickaxe, try and get as fast a Q evolve as you can. You can go for the Manamune build it very easily from this point as well. No cull to be seen though, where that is going to be something that is evident on Praetor's side of the fence here. And for someone that does love his farming scheme, we saw, what, was 400 CS in 32 minutes or something?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he'll be able to cash that cull in at a relatively quick pace.
It was very crazy how good he was in that game to not only allow his team to fight on opposite ends of the map, take trades there, just leave him on his lonesome on a lonely little island, just taking everything that came his way. There were plates, there were turrets, there were minions as well, when he just found CS that just didn't belong. Unfortunately for him, despite being a Philios and having all the years of experience, a few nerfs and a little bit of hampered range just didn't allow him to utilize what his toolkit offered. And that might be a similar story here for the mid-Katarina. We've yet to see the interaction, and I'm sure Chaz is well aware of it. Might be very much an advocate for ganking the side lanes where there is CC present.
I respect the pick of the Katarina. I just wonder if the need to pick it third, to pick it blind, was something that was necessary. As AV did draft for themselves, I think a little bit of strategic depth might have given them something extra there. But nevertheless, we've got the Katarina. Not sure you'd want to be planted in a side lane by any means either, though. So most likely going to be stuck in mid lane, dealing with what is the Kassadin, still getting those levels, getting those items. The experience all the way up to level 16, where it'll be insurmountable for most people to deal with.
You can actually see there that Biopanther has held this wave outside of his turret top side. That forced Paprise to rotate through and maybe sniff at an opportunity in the mid wave. Get Back also playing very defensively. Wasn't an easy target to jump upon, so aren't able to find his individual 1v1s, and instead we'll have to turn our attention to an objective. It's a 9-minute Dragon, relatively slow. But as the pace goes, they're going to be still kind of content with this, as it will be Lilia that races the clock, standing on vision. Surely this time Pentanet won't get caught.
No teleports available for Biopanther or Get Back, though. Dives on.
Dive is certainly on. Goes to Sleeping Lullaby. They're all going to get locked in place, stunned, and in trouble. And it's this Violet who will fall on down. The time is off, but Katarina finds a double. If there's no CC, the Katarina can pop off for sure. But not when you stare down the barrel of a gun. You talk about a Katarina popping off, or Get Back equalized the situation by also finding himself a double kill. The dive was on, and the dive was stopped.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good response here from PGG. Right place, right time. They were very aware what was going to be happening there, once again, with their vision control that they had set up. Yes, there was 2 kills that went over to the Katarina, but there was 2 kills that went over to the Kassadin. Pabu picks one up for himself as well. So maybe all the Cat fans that we seem to have in Twitch chat would be like, oh, that's wonderful for Chaz. Big whir. Everyone else on the entire planet's going to be like, that's a big mistake. Because that Kassadin's well on the way to being overly powerful. Uppy unfortunately wasn't able to tank any more turret shots than he currently did, so the small amounts of damage over time that stack up for the Lilia weren't going to be enough to secure any kills and have enough damage there by any means. So unfortunately for AV, good in idea, not in execution.
Yeah, as soon as that Unbreakable Will expired, it was Violet who was forced to take the damage, and low in that exchange was the casualty of war there, fell on down. And whilst that fight did get them a few kills, did assist the mid laners getting bigger and bigger, they have managed to find, once again, another objective into their control. It's going to be the Herald. They've taken some plates topside as well. Now Pentanet going to rise up to the occasion, so you've left your AD carry to his own. Oh, he's popped the Killer Instinct. That shield is just not enough. And now you've committed an Illusion, who also might be a second casualty. He's burning the flash. He's dodging the skill shots. He's teleporting in as if he's a bruiser, but he's Illusion, and he'll fall on down as well.
And Appy trying to deal with Get Back here as well, but still zoning both Chaz and Get Back away is going to be this Kassadin. The Angry Bee in support of the rest of his team. Nice dive from PGG in general. Just very well played from them overall. Juggling the turret aggro, ensuring that they maximize their damage output for Praedyth as well. And then they disengage, so when he takes aggro, he hits the sniper shot. And so he's going to be able to walk out of the turret before even using that auto attack. So just brilliant stuff there by PGG.
Certainly was brilliant stuff, and I'm going to see what this actually means in terms of a gold lead. It will be Pentanet. They're up by just under 2,500 gold at the 12-minute mark, so a sizable lead for them to work with. You can see a lot of that comes in part to not only individual kills, but some significant CS advantages found as well. And whilst the objectives haven't gone their way, that Herald hasn't been summoned yet to even out those odds.
That Gunblade is going to be pretty big though. Not necessarily in the direct 1v1, but into playing towards side lanes. And I mean, when you take a second to look at the minimap, there's a clear indicator of what AV want to do here. They've dove bottom once, so why not 100 times? Because here he goes.
Here he goes indeed, pops the ultimate, tanks up the well. They have one target on mind, is get rid of this Aphelios. It is a shutdown for the Katarina. If there isn't CC, a Katarina can play the game, and that's exactly what he does. 2 times in the bot lane, and 2 times a double kills. The Herald will be summoned. That'll look to take down this turret. Out goes the bowling ball, will not connect with Get Back. He's hunting for some low members, and there are certainly a whole host of them. He might not decide to commit.
And it wasn't a big deal the first dive for the side of AV, but the second one they do it faster, they do it through lanes, so no vision control even going to be there to stop any kind of play from AV, and that's actually just wildly successful. An amazing Hex Flash from Appy over the wall as well, the absolute confidence to make that play. AV with a big move.
A huge move, and they had to make something happen there, because they realized that we can't afford these guys to get too far ahead of us right now. We know that they've got some very strong individual scaling champions. We don't want to play into their strengths, so what do? We target the bot lane. We will not allow them to get to those absurd numbers like last time. I need to hope that they don't fall on down in these individual exchanges. That'll be Paprise that gets targeted. There is Rogue in case they needed a third. It will be Biopanther that secures the bounty topside.
And Praedyth just wildcards himself up to top side on the reset. Rogue going to be up there as well. So they flip the map onto the top side of the Rift with a Drake up in 15 seconds. Not exactly your stock standard strategic decision there from PGG, and that may be something that catches Paprise off guard, as they do find themselves the kill. They will now have to move around the map if they want to contest this Drake at all, however, and it is an Infernal, and AV will be getting the first 2 of the game if they lock this one down. So that's them threatening the Soul Point. And that is a genuine win condition potentially there for AV.
Certainly is a win condition. You need that early power. You need that way to say, well, if you do bring it to late, at least you've got a buff that works on our side. Obviously, the Infernal will not be the soul to play for. We'll get to find out what it will be once Lisa takes it down, as Pabu is not keen to even contest it. No, he's going to go for a 1v1 in the jungle and bully Paprise a little bit more. Unfortunately for him, it just has not been his day here today.
Yeah, wow. What was his KDA in the first game of the day?
I want to say 06 from what I last remember. It just hasn't been a good day for him, unfortunately.
That puts him at approximately 010 on the day. And we're 15 minutes into his second game. Oh, I feel bad already.
Certainly do. As Avant will showcase what it can do in the mid lane. The Appy once again is ready to rock and roll. He's actually running the phase rush as an Alistair, so no aftershock. Nope, he wants to go a little bit more, ensuring that he can lock down that key target, and they cannot evade his pulverize. They actually had to burn the ultimate, so he's still going to be very tanky if he decides to now assist Chaz in this bottom lane.
Yeah, BioPanther just looking to take the trade. Definitely doesn't want to deal with 3 people. He's pretty content in his 1v1, it seems, though. Note the BioPanther is still fully armor stacked, so Chaz can be pretty aggressive down here. He's going to have to disengage right now, though. Ooh, great.
Yeah, that's Aphelios. That's the one that we know and love. Okay, that's a fantastic combo from the Alistair, ensuring that Chaz does not fall on down. One more auto would have done it. The sniper's still there. The flamethrower comes on out. An arrow from across the wall. And see you later. There's the postcards. It doesn't look pretty, but it was signed by Praetor himself. He commits the flash. Get back, gets put to sleep, but it's not nighttime for him yet. No, he's staying up late to put in work. He is now 3-0. As Pensnap are starting to get ahead.
This may sound crazy, and it looked like that Katarina just power entered there on the disengage, but the reason for that was to avoid get back at all costs. This Kassadin is level 11, is 3-0 now, and with the last thing that you need to do if you're AV is give more kills over to the Kassadin. So he intentionally runs towards the rest of the team to avoid get back, and I respect that, because it takes a real bold call to say, I'm going to intentionally feed in this direction instead of the chance of escape the other way.
Pick your poison really has to be the one to discuss there, as it will be Pub, but it gets collapsed upon. There goes the engage. Avant want blood, they'll find it, but they will fall on down. It's not the blood they're after, it'll be their own blood that gets spilled here today, as 3 casualties are found amongst their Raptor camp.
Now that was an int.
Panther is just like, guys, I wanted an assist. I can't get anything, but it's not looking too pretty here.
Yeah, that was big for PGG. They're going to be able to push forwards, not only get the kills, they're going to look towards the second inner turret as well. Praetor with his chakrams is just going to do absurd damage to it in melee range. Of course, the attack speed of those chakrams are based on the distance you are away from the target. Lisa, oh my god.
Well, Praetor's got the ideal weapon set up now. He wants a little bit of range, and he hoped that he could have found at least one pick there. Lisa, fantastic ability to hold on out to the last possible moment there. As Pabu will now find Pensnap, their very first objective.
Yeah, got the Rift Herald that they can summon. They don't necessarily need that in any particular lane right now, which will be very interesting to watch how they choose to use this one. It's probably just going to be an afterthought. No objective for 1 minute and 45, and then the other one, of course, in 2 minutes is going to be Baron. You probably just use the Herald in top lane. Maybe just pick a lane where all 5 of you even consider grouping up. I think the best practice would be to summon it as Drake spawns and just play towards the Drake and leave Herald on an island. But they really do have a lot of freedom in their decision to make around that.
A ton of freedom to navigate with, and you can understand why when they got some significant item advantages to juggle around with. You're comparing a Kaiser at just a Manamune to that of 2-item spike on an Aphelios. Getback's going to face check, and as much as you can look to try and silence that combo, very difficult when you're going in blind. He fell on down, dropped down to half, but he does get to Rift walk to safety.
Yeah, he's going to survive. That was definitely something that AV, if they were able to find the kill, would have been laughing about. It's a 600 gold shutdown there for 2 members of PGG, one of them being Get Back. So thankfully for him, he's able to get himself out perfectly fine. Of course, he also has the Magi Soul Stealer now, so any death is significant. Whereas any kill also is going to be equally significant, as Chaz wants a crack at Pabu, it seems. That was very bold.
Yeah, Pabu's insanely strong at this moment. He's the second highest level on his team. Higher than that of the top lane, matching that of the Kassadin. 3 level advantage up on the Lilia. It's a scary Graves to go into. Jungle Kingdom here for a Graves when every lane is winning.
Yeah. Also lethality build. So Pabu maximizing his damage output. Hasn't gone, I believe, towards the Black Cleaver. Has actually committed to the Umbral Glaive into another lethality item, and that will most likely be the Edge of Night. Almost impossible to deal with at that point. A lot of the engage that AV have is now going to go completely amiss if it is just the Alistar that's going to be going forwards.
Yeah, he's gone. The dragon has fallen on down. It's the first one going away of painting it, but that's Appy's invitation to say, let's make this fight happen. Pops the ultimate. WQ. Can he lock them in place? He's going to lock himself in place because that mitigation is soon to fall on down. He can't make it to the fruit. No 5-a-day here. The nutrients aren't there. He'll fall on down. And his get back is a kid in the playground having so much fun, dashing over walls, acting like they're monkey bars and swinging to double kill.
Yeah, 6-17 kills on the scoreboard here, Skibby. It is definitely something that we're just waiting for an inevitable outcome in this one. Definitely starting to get those vibes. Herald going to be summoned on the bottom side of the map, and we'll see what Sheraldine the Heraldine can actually get done here, as it's just Biopanther on the assist. Rest of PGG are fresh off their resets going elsewhere on the map. And we spoke about the potential of using it maybe to force the Drake as an objective, but it doesn't matter. AV are looking for those fights. They're definitely keen for a biff in this game, so they could just use that Herald as an afterthought, and it's not going to get anything done.
Not at this stage. Not at this stage whatsoever. Pentanet are playing with aggression. They've played for a late game composition. They're well on their way towards it. Caston, level 13. They're currently locked in there at that third spot on the table, and they want to ensure that there is not going to be a tiebreaker necessary to separate up these teams. They want to control their destiny.
You know what's exciting, though? Paprai got a kill involvement.
He's worth money.
He's worth money, and on the day, he hasn't got zeros everywhere. There's no goose eggs.
Yes.
That matters a lot.
That's fantastic. That's a good consolation prize. Do feel for the lad. We'll get to see what he can do in this next fight, as it is Pentanet that are hunting for trouble. They're up by 7k gold so far. 17 kills to 6 showcases why that is the case. It's a Glacial Fissure from the Braum. We'll lock in place too. There goes the coal, but a lot of that will get locked down by the shield that goes up. Get back finds himself one. He's godlike, and you know what he can do when he hits this stage of the game. He'll find one, he'll find two. Now into your base, looking for a third. As Vite is forced to do a bit of a Melbourne shuffle there on the floor with a Killer Instinct to try and give himself a little bit of extra HP, as they have all retreated to that fountain, and Pentanet say, well, that's all we need to get ourselves a Baron.
Yeah, they're going to go over to Baron. Get back. It wasn't on your screen, I don't believe. It was just quietly dancing inside the enemy base. There was a few missing pings from the rest of his team onto him. They'd all walked over to Baron, and he was just sitting between turrets. He might legitimately look to take a 1v5 fight. He may legitimately attempt that at some stage, given how strong he is. Off this next reset, depending on what he buys, especially if it's a stopwatch, I think he's on here. I think he's on with a chance as well.
25 stacks, the absolute dream here as an AP assassin. Get yourself all that damage, be so damn juicy. Ensure that if you look at somebody, they basically fall on down just from sheer intimidation. That's what we're getting to. Pre-level 16, a Caston at 8-0 into tons of bounties. There is still a chance here for Avant to try and close the distance, and they'll find one. That's 450 in their pockets right now as Graves is dead.
Great boss here, though.
He's jumping in, he's got that Baron buff, and he's looking for those targets. He'll find one, because Bio took another. And out come the bees once again.
Yep, Chaz has been eviscerated by a Cassid and ultimate there, so get back. Yes, level 15 realistically was over at level 11 in terms of champion strength. They do get themselves 750 gold, so they'll be happy with that. But what's the consolation prize of 750 Gs when you're about to lose the game potentially from that decision? Now with 3 people strong down here, and Biopanther just playing zone defense with the widest zone. It's full court press, basically, the way that he's trying to keep the rest of them from joining the team. That's going to be an inhibitor, minimum.
For sure, and with them being 2 AD carry users, very easy for him to itemize into and hold them at bay, as he's also on 16 stacks, so he packs a fair bit of a punch too in retaliation. Here goes the bowling ball, but it hits a cannon. That's not who they're after. But Pentanet have set themselves a window of success here with the inhibitor falling on down and another dragon to play for. Ocean Dragon after Ocean Dragon, more sustain and more chance to make crazy Alpha Chad moves like Get Back did only moments prior.
For those that were wondering as well, that the name of Lilia's E is Swirl Seed, but I do think that Bowling Ball is significantly better. And the reason that I bring this up is that most of the other spells, except for the ult, weird names. The name of the W, which is the big dash, where it does more damage in the middle of the circle, is called Watch Out, Eep, with exclamation marks. Like, what shoutcaster in the world wants to say Lilia has used the Watch Out, Eep, ever? It's just going to be a W.
I can tell you, it's not going to be me. That would be an interesting one to hear. I'm sure the amount of opportunities for Reddit or Twitch chat to meme that one would be profound. As Dragon will go across here, another one in the pockets for Pentanet, as they will now lead this goal lead at the dead even 25 mark by 11,000 gold. It is a big, big stomp at this stage. 25 stacks on the Magi's here for Get Back right now. One level away. He needs a couple more minion waves to hit that level 16. Appy, he was so keen for the combo. Hits him with the thumbs up because he knows the disengage was there. This wave and maybe another, and we should have the journey complete.
Yeah, I really don't even need the Caster to be level 16. I think the only benefit they get from Caster being 16 is the 1v5 attempt. Lilia not going to be able to do too much there with the bowling ball, not actually able to find anyone other than the Braum. Chaz, and no chance to play his champion. Let's be honest. Now they're staring down the barrel of PGG, pushing in for the third inhibitor as well, as Get Back should just be able to secure this second one. Ticks over to 16. That's basically the left, right, good night moment. See you later, AV. Get Back's coming for your noggin.
He certainly is. They are playing tutorial style as Spawn would say, as they're going to look to try and take every part of your base. It's going to belong to them. It is all things red right now as it lights up with Pentanet kill streaks. They'll take you all down. They'll force you back into your fountain. They'll say, you've had your fun in the sun. You've had your fun with this draft. This is the closing out here for the OPL season for both of these teams.
Aren't they?
And Pentanet are going to finish it on a dub, and why not? Because they can look to get themselves a few more kills.
Use your Watch Out, Eep. Alright, that was an int.
That was an int. That is the closing of their final game there, Rusty. You have to say, it was a clean game, really, from Pentanet. They make sure that there was not going to be that three-way tie. They want to guarantee that their fate is we are the team in third position. We'll get to see what happens as we've got one final game to look forward to, right? We've got the big banger, the one that everybody looks to always tune in for, the OPL Classico, the Chiefs taking on Legacy. That's what we have to look forward to after the break, so we'll see you shortly.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact free, we'll be here.